The Chicago Bulls fall to the Indiana Pacers 145 to 126. We're going to be talking about the key takeaways from tonight's loss. And so before we go ahead and we jump into it, I first want to remind you to slam dunk on that subscribe button, just like Modest Buzelis slam dunks in games. And so in exchange for slamming on that subscribe button, I'm going to give you nothing but daily content around the Chicago Bulls. And so make sure that you hit that like, you hit that subscribe, and you join the Chicago Bulls Insider family as we talk nothing but Chicago Bulls basketball. And so with that being said, let's go ahead and let's jump into it as we're talking about the key takeaways from tonight's loss against the Indiana Pacers. And so, look, I always like to start really with the theme of these games. And I could just think of just one point that really describes this game. This was just a really ugly loss, I think, for the Chicago Bulls. They gave up tons of points here. And so 83 points at the half. They gave up 145 overall. And so defense was just an option for the Chicago Bulls today. And look, man, the Pacers got everything that they wanted to get in this game. And so just really a bad loss here for the Chicago Bulls. And so let's go ahead. Let's jump into just the player box score and talk about some of these individual performances here. So starting with Tre Jones. And so Tre Jones, look, I think that he continues to be solid for the Chicago Bulls. Just first looking at the efficiency from the field. And so you see that he was 7 of 11 from the field in 25 minutes. And so was a negative 21 with the 15 points, the 2 rebounds. He didn't get very many assists and did knock down his only 3-point shot of the evening. But still, Tre Jones has been a bright spot for the Chicago Bulls. This is something that we always talk about with him, his ability to get to the lane, competing on the other end defensively. And so even though it's a tough night for the Chicago Bulls, I thought that Tre Jones was solid. And speaking of a solid player, that would also be Colin Sexton. And so we continue to talk about what he can do as a scorer. And I think that this is another game where we see an example of him just getting points. And so 18 points, a negative 13 in the plus minus box score. He had the 4 assists. He was 1 of 1 from the free throw line, 1 of 5 from deep, and 8 of 14 from the field in 26 minutes. And I will say this too about Colin Sexton. I do like the fact that he has been very, I'd say, adaptable to the roles that have been thrown at him, because there's been times where he's had to start and then there's times where he's had to come off the bench. And so if the Bulls do bring him back next season, you do like the fact that he has started and come off the bench, because that is what it's all about when you're trading for players. You want to evaluate them and see, what they would do in certain situations. And so Colin Sexton, I think, showing the versatility there. Next up, Modest Buzelis. And so Modest Buzelis, man, he had some good plays in this game. Like, I thought that I liked the little step through to the dunk and everything else. And so I think that we continue to see flashes from Modest Buzelis. Now, this wasn't the greatest game, but I do like the fact that he did get to the boards. I talked about this before, in an earlier video post game, talking about the fact that I think that he really should start to turn into a player that gets to the double doubles. And it just means that he's going to have to get the rebounds up. And so the fact that he got to the 9 rebounds, I'm great with that. And then I like the fact that he did get to the 6 assists. And so continuing to show the confidence to knock down the 3 ball and stuff like that. And so 17 points, a negative 18 in the plus minus box score, the 9 rebounds, 6 assists, the 2 steals. Did have 4 turnovers in this game, 3 of 7 from deep, 5 of 11 from the field in 29 minutes. Next up, Issac Okoro. And so Issac Okoro, look, I think that he was solid too as well. And again, just showing you that, look, you don't need to run plays for Issac Okoro. And I know that, look, it has been a tough season, but I will say that, look, the Bulls did, I think, win that trade with the Cleveland Cavaliers, because Issac Okoro has been solid for the Bulls. And so, yes, he's missed some games, but I do like the effort that you're getting with him. And then also, too, offensively, he's finding ways to get it done. And so 14 points in this one, negative 10. 2 assists. He had 1 steal. He had 2 turnovers. He was 3 of 4 from deep, 4 of 5 from the field in 26 minutes. Next up, Guerschon Yabusele. And so Guerschon Yabusele, look, he had missed some games, and look, he came in very fresh in this game. And I like the effort that you get with Guerschon Yabusele. And so I'm not sure that he's going to be back next season. I know that there's talk that, hey, he may want to, go overseas and play, and that's fine. And, just as far as the timeline and such, like I could see that would be a situation in which the Bulls would move on. But I do think that the energy has been there. The effort has been there. And look, man, he's looked like a player that should have possibly been playing, in the rotation with his other team. And so Garshawn Yabusele, 20 points, a negative 15 in the plus minus box score. He did have the one turnover. He had the 6 rebounds, 6 of 8 from the free throw line, 2 of 7 from deep, and 6 of 12 from the field in 25 minutes. And so next, starting with the bench here. And so with Patrick Williams, look, Patrick Williams, 0 points, negative 12, 3 turnovers, 4 rebounds, 0 of 2 from the free throw line, 0 of 4 from deep, and just 0 of 4 from the field in 13 minutes. And so, look, with Patrick Williams, one of the things that was talked about during the broadcast, if you got a chance to watch it, and they slow it down, but he's taking like logo shot 3-pointers and stuff like that, where it's like, man, Patrick Williams, I'm not sure I don't know if he has any confidence in, just putting the ball on the deck and getting to the rim or getting to the mid-range. Like everything seems to be just a catch and shoot. And it seems like that it's just gone out further and further as the season's gone along. And so, he's taking those deep 3-point attempts. He's not making them. He's turning it over when he puts it on the deck too as well. And so look, Patrick Williams, man, continues to struggle here. And this is why I think that I continue to highlight Leonard Miller, kind of moving forward for the Chicago Bulls. And so I'm not sure that the Bulls are going to be able to do anything with Patrick Williams in that contract, but I do think that Leonard Miller should be the player kind of moving forward. We also have to see what it looks like when he has an offseason with his team, training camp, and everything else. But if Leonard Miller continues to progress like this, look, I could simply see that you need to start giving him those minutes. And so speaking of Leonard Miller, look, Leonard Miller, I think, had a tough one in this game and really didn't get it going until the fourth quarter. But still, at the end of the day, it is going to count as another game in which he gets to the double figures and also to getting to 6 rebounds, which is something that we talk about with Leonard Miller, is that he will find ways to impact the game even if he's not scoring it. So 11 points, he had a negative 12 in the plus minus box score. He did have the turnover, the 6 rebounds. He was 1 of 3 from deep and 2 of 4 from the field and 4 of 9 from the field, or 2 of 4, from the free throw line, 1 of 3 from deep. And then he was 4 of 9 from the field in 22 minutes. Next up, Lachlan Olbrich. And so with Lachlan Olbrich, I like the fact that he just goes out there and he battles. Like, I love the energy that you get from Lachlan Olbrich. It's not going to look pretty out there, but, just him, just kind of battling for the boards, kind of tipping the basketball in and stuff like that. Like, I think that is how Lachlan Olbrich is going to win. And I also think, too, once he gets settled down a little bit more as far as taking his time and catching the ball and making a good move, I think that maybe he has a chance to kind of get some more buckets that way, because I think that he's left some money on the table in some of the games that he's been in. But I think he's played very well for the Windy City Bulls, and I think that this is probably one of his best games, since he's kind of suited up for the Bulls as far as, the big club and everything else. But, he had the 8 points, he had the 8 rebounds, he had the 1 assist, he was a +5 in 17 minutes, 4 of 8 from the field, 0 of 2 from deep. And so the fact that he's getting the minutes, I think, is important, especially down the stretch. You don't have Nick Richards. You might as well go ahead and play Lachlan Olbrich. And again, he plays hard, and I think that he certainly earned the minutes to be out there. And so next, McClung. And so McClung, look, I think that for him, we've been talking about what he's done with the Windy City Bulls, going out there and just scoring at a high clip and everything else. And so wasn't expecting very much for him. Glad to see that he got into the rotation. I like the fact that he was aggressive, got a little goaltend in this game too as well. But 8 points, a +3 in the plus minus box score. He had the 2 rebounds, 3 of 6 from the field in 11 minutes. Next up, Rob Dillingham. And so for Rob Dillingham, he really got it going, I think, in the fourth quarter as well. But there were some times early on too. Like, I like the fact that he was showing the use of the handle, getting to the step back, knocking down the 3 and everything else. And so for Rob Dillingham, much like I was talking about with Lachlan Olbrich, I think that just kind of being a little bit more patient, slowing down once he gets to the basket. Like, I think he's going to have to become a little bit better as a finisher there. And defensively, he's got to figure some stuff out too as well, because that is something that I talked about, just the size and just really having to compete even more on the defensive end too. But look, he's got to also be better, I guess with the timing and stuff like that, if he's going to go for steals and stuff like that. But Rob Dillingham, at least he got to the double figures in this game. Wasn't a pretty one, but still, nevertheless, he gets you the double digits there. And so 15 points, a -7, the 3 assists, 1 of 1 from the free throw line, 2 of 4 from deep, 6 of 14 from the field in 29 minutes. Next up, Yuki Kawamura. And so even though Yuki did not score, the energy was great. Look, I love the assist or one of his pocket assists that he got over to Modest Buzelis. It was a nice little no-looker over there. And then also, too, when the camera was panning in, you could see him clapping it up saying, hey, let's get a stop on the defensive end. Like, I love seeing that from Yuki Kawamura today. So the energy was there, from those players. And so unfortunately, it just didn't work out in the Bulls' favor because, again, this was just an ugly loss. And so quickly, just jumping into just now the team box scores, we take a look at that. And so for the Chicago Bulls, look, you see that starting with the free throws here, the Bulls 19 of 26, 73% from the free throw line. And so this is something that the Bulls just really have got to get better at. You see that the Pacers were 9 of 10 from the free throw line. 3-point percentage, the Bulls shot 33%. You see that the Pacers shot 42%. The assist, 49 to 22 for the Pacers. A ridiculous amount of assists there for the Pacers as they just diced up the Chicago Bulls. The steals, 14 to 6. The Pacers lead in that category, 5 to 4 with the block shots for the Pacers there, 20 to 14 with the turnovers. And look how many points the Bulls gave up off of those turnovers, 32 points. And that is what I'm talking about. The defense and the turnovers just really just hurt the Bulls today. The next, the fast break points, 29 to 13 for the Pacers, 72 to 60 with the points in the paint for the Pacers, 22 to 14 with the fouls there for the teams. And so 22 for the Pacers, 14 for the Bulls. And so look, this was just an ugly loss here. You guys let me know in the comments here what you guys are thinking and what your key takeaways were from this tough loss. And so we'll be talking more about the Chicago Bulls. And as we always say, go Bulls. I will see you guys on the next one. All right, peace.